Mm. What is going on, fellas? We got a doozy tonight. We got a pretty high-scoring game on deck with the Bengals and the Cowboys. I finally ended the Bush versus Canadian internet saga today, and I finally have a hardwired connection into my PC, and I feel like I'm about to jinx something and start lagging out here in a second, but I think I should be okay. It is I mean, I've been living here now. This is my 9th day living here, and I finally have internet that is functional. That is a very difficult, time for your boy, but we've managed and we've rallied.
Also, did you see? I got the fucking smackdown on me in the fucking listener redraft league because why did I had the Will Levis, Nick Westbrook, Akine stack just fall flat on its face against the worst pass defense in the league. Xavier Legette gets hurt and also drops the game-winning touchdown, which was awesome, right? Also, why is Travis Kelce just mid again? What happened?
I don't know, dude. Yeah, I kind of got railed by Jim Rat in the listener redraft too. But like no Brees, no Lamar Jackson. I mean, I didn't really have a lot going for me this week. And you know what, Brees Hall, why don't you take next week off too? Because your boy's got to buy. So we'll get you back healthy, and you should be good to go come week 16.
I wouldn't mind Brees Hall taking another week off, considering I plug Isaiah Davison and he outscores what Brees Hall gave me last week. Also, if those of you who were here on the Sunday morning live stream listening to the decision between Parker Washington and Isaiah Davis, sometimes you just got to trust your gut. Remember, you said if you have this inkling that Isaiah Davis is going to do something, put him in your lineup. I made that last 10 switch, and again, I probably have a slight chance at this point to make the playoffs in the Flock League. Like, again, I was talking to you about the scenario. I'm not going to explain the full exact scenario for you guys because obviously that's going to be on the Tuesday video. But for the purpose of my own scenario, to win my matchup, I'm not going to talk about the shit around the league. I need 35.2 PPR points combined from Chase Brown and Brandon Aubrey. Basically, what I need is a couple Brandon Aubrey 50-plus yard field goals and Chase Brown to take advantage of the lowest EPA rush defense in the league.
Yeah, and to hold on to my lead currently, I need, I think, less than 20.5 PPR points from T. Higgins. And Higgins has been great anytime he's been healthy, but, we got a potential difficult matchup. Deron Bland is expected to shadow him, so we'll see. It's not going to actually end up making a difference in whether or not I have a bye week in the toilet bowl. It looks like I'm going to have next week off regardless because Danny couldn't take care of business, or maybe Danny takes care of business. Mason couldn't take care of business against the Dev. Shocker. And I was relying on Thomas, who got generational by Nathan's team.
Dude, you can't say that. That's one of the nuggets that I was alluding to. We can't give the secrets on.
So that's has Nathan the video won tomorrow. Officially?
Yes.
Yeah, he's won? Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so I mean, you guys heard it here first. That was one of the nuggets I needed to happen, and it ended up happening. So you guys will see fully on the vlog. Just I recorded some good clips for you guys. I am recording this actually. Bush knows, and I mentioned it on the live stream, but did have my appointment this morning. I do actually have a small hernia. It's funny because I literally said, I'm like, yeah, I probably have an umbilical hernia, which would make sense. I'm at my desk all day. I'm a bigger guy pressing against the fucking desk. Like, it made sense. But again, caught it. It was 5 millimeters. So it's actually not like a big emergency. They just basically said if it starts growing above 1.5, that's when it could actually like start being an issue. And then I would actually need it to get surgically taken out. But I'm going to have an ultrasound. They're going to check everything up on that. And the other factor is I was super fatigued today because I had to take a couple shots. The reason being is once I went there, they're like, okay, well, you're also due for your blood work, which you need to get done in case you actually need surgery. They need to check up on all that before you actually go for surgery, obviously. So I had to get a couple needles, and my left arm, I can barely move right now because that shoulder's cooked.
Yeah. Also, Danny, you might be the only person I know that would just like openly share their medical diagnosis on a live stream.
I told them that I might have a hernia, so I just wanted to let them know that I was okay, to be honest. No, if I'm going to tell them initially that I had it.
Glad it's not too bad. It just seems like a wild thing to do in retrospect.
I'm to be fair though, like if I'm going to mention something in this like on the Sunday stream, and like in case people were like concerned or worried or like maybe remember the stream or were wondering what was going on, I just want to give the update. So
yeah, Bell's in the chat.
Thank you. Thank
Toronto
you.
Dave in the chat.
It's not too bad, luckily.
But yeah, so this game, we can rip through our underdog picks first, and then we'll go through some comments.
I was not able to make mine because when I came back from my appointment, I may have taken a generational nap because those needles do a wonder to your fatigue level.
Okay, well, I sent the link to Spicy. If he ends up joining, we could always build one out live here, but we can roll over mine real quick if you want. We can
Rico Dowdle higher and Chase Brown lower, right?
No, I wish. I do have Chase Brown to score a rushing touchdown here, and my thought process is that, as you probably know, the Cowboys 14 rushing touchdowns allowed this year, 12 games played. So that is, if you're doing the math, more rushing touchdowns than games played. And Chase Brown, 80% snap share guy. He's had at least one inside the 5 carry each of the last 5 games. So him scoring a rushing touchdown, I'm not 100% positive this is still even available to be taken on underdog. It might have been taken down already, in my opinion, because it was just such a lock based on what I've seen. And then, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, for the record, I said that before you showed the pick 'em because I'm known as putting players on that I need to have happen. So that's why
if I were coping like you, I would have thrown T. Higgins as lower on here, but I don't like to do that.
Yeah, no. I'm all joking. I honestly think this pick'em looks really good. Joe Burrow, like you kind of mentioned too. Cowboys pass rush is returning to strength, but they are still without DeMarcus Lawrence. We know Joe Burrow that he created after the out of structure. Sorry, I can't even speak right now. But I'll let you continue explaining your pick because I kind of just hopped in and ruined your sunshine. So go ahead.
Yeah, Burrow again. 5 of the last 7 games, he's been beyond that total in rushing yards. He's like a 4 to 5 rushing attempts per game guy, and when you amp up like the pass rush, like the Cowboys have been able to do the last couple of weeks, I think we're going to get a little bit of scrambling. And also too, like, this game is expected to go over. It's already a high total. There's going to be a lot of passing in general, which the type of quarterback Burrow is. If he's dropping back a lot, he's probably going to scramble a couple times. And then Brandon Cooks, I like him to go higher than 27.5 receiving yards. A little sketchy. This is probably the one that kills me in my opinion, but Brandon Cooks had only 53% of the routes last week, and he was a 30% targets per route run guy, 6 targets on the game. I think we're going to see him jump right back up to second on the team in routes this week against the Bengals, who are allowing the 9th most yards per game to the wide receiver position. So, and if Lamb is banged up, which, I mean, we don't know how severe his shoulder injury is. I think Cooks has 27 yards, like for a guy that has been as productive as Brandon Cooks over his career. It's like not too much to ask for him to have like 4 catches.
I believe 8 targets last week, if I remember correctly.
I think it was 6 targets last week.
It might have been 6. Sorry, correction.
Yeah, either way, like he only ran 50% of the routes. So if they amp him up to 80-90% of the routes, like he's was before he suffered the injury, I think that's probably what we're looking at there.
Also, shout out whether this is Avery or Nathan. If it's Nathan, I already sung your good graces in a bunch of flock league.
Definitely Avery, because he's rooting for T. Higgins.
Oh, I'm so dumb. Yeah, right. You're playing Avery. I'm big. Regardless, so Avery, I need to ask you honestly. Now, I'm not going to disclose to the audience exactly what needs to happen, but obviously you know what needs to happen. Give the audience a preview of what you think my playoff equity is at this point. The chances of me making the playoffs. I just leave a number, no context. Just leave a number just to build up the anticipation in chat.
Yeah. First of all, Avery, for next year's punishment, I have the best idea possible. Like, this is so much better than the loser punishment this year. Like, you guys are going to flip shit when you hear what this idea is. I think it's a genius idea, but 0.7%. It would not be, to give you guys an idea, like, I don't want to spoil everything here, but the swing in this flock league, if let's say I win today against Avery and T. Higgins goes less than 20.5 points or whatever, dog, I'm going to be a 6-8 12th seed.
I can either finish 5th or 11th today, depending on what happens.
The league is so close that the difference between me as the 12th seed at 6-8 and making the playoffs is literally 1 victory. 1. If I play Patrick Mahomes instead of Dak Prescott against Zach, I would have beaten Dak Prescott. That could have been the difference between me being in the playoffs or in dead last.
Hey, buddy, I could play the if, ands, or buts.
I'm just saying that's how close the league was. I'm not like I
obviously.
Okay. I was gonna say I made the wrong decision. I'm just saying that's how close the league is. That it like quite literally could have came down to 1 decision.
This encapsulates it. Same thing. It's like Rashee Rice doesn't tear his fucking knee because Mahomes wants to dolphin dive into it. If Malik Neighbors doesn't want to sit out a month with a concussion when I'm already without Rashee Rice.
I don't trade
but Nico doesn't want to get hurt on back of that.
Dynasty football for Brandon Ayuk and he blows his knee out the next week. I probably am in a much better position too. I traded JSN, Bucky Irving, and Kareem Hunt and Amari Cooper for a guy who blew his knee out a week later.
Remember when we all said you fleeced him?
Everybody said that I fleeced him. Avery included said that I fleeced Zach in that trade.
The worst, actually, that is the worst. But the second worst is when Zach and Badaki threatened to shut the league down because I traded fucking Rico Dowdle for Jonathan Brooks, who re-tears the same fucking knee.
Poor went out for Jonathan Brooks, bro.
Fuck, jeez. Man.
That's brutal. That's like a
Trevor, I need a lot more than 9, so hopefully you get there.
Yeah. Also, it's more so Avery that the punishment, I mean, it is brutal when you hear it, but it is more so that it would be absolutely elite content. League punishment that I have in mind. And
does it involve paintball guns?
No, it involves, I'll give you a hint. It involves food. I'll tell you it after the stream is done. I don't want to spoil it because I want it to be a surprise, specifically for the audience. But trust me, it's a really fucking good idea.
Yeah. What do you know? How about this rookie draft? You know, you need a running back, so you got to draft them at the late first, early second. So you grab all your Benson and Brooks bags, where all the people were like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll add a running back to my bench." Ended up with Bucky Irving, Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, Ray Davis, fucking Tyrone Tracy, all those fucking guys.
Yeah, no, it goes to show you that like when your rookie draft is like beyond mid second round, late second round, swinging on running backs is almost just like always a good idea because you're going to get dudes that work into workloads pretty much every year. Like 2 years ago, we were talking about Chase Brown as that type of guy where you're taking him early third round or whatever. And now all of a sudden he's going to be probably a top 12 dynasty running back by the time the season is done. Like if he continues to close out the season the way he is, I can't imagine the Bengals are going to have too much concern about him being the starter going into next year.
Also, Avery, you're in here, so I'll show you. I've shown you obviously my stack teams in my dynasty portfolio to get an idea of just how variant this year is overall. This team is going to be 10-4, and I believe has the 2 seed in this league, or 2 or 3 seed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this might be one of the worst fucking teams I've ever gone 10-4 with in my life. It's literally carried by like 4 players.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a pretty bad team.
It scored 198.
Sam Darnold, 49 points.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And even on the bench, it's like I have Lamar.
You have Lamar Jackson too.
Yeah. Lamar and Mixon obviously help into the equation. McCaffrey, though, he's out. I don't have another fucking running back. Lockett. It's crazy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying though, Avery. That team is 10-4. I have teams like Tone Setter Truthers that are going to be 8-6, and look at the difference in quality of fucking team. Like that's including bye weeks this week.
Also has Lamar Jackson on it as well.
Yeah, like Brian Robinson, Hopkins on the bench. I saw like Goddard and shit. Let me see.
Go to my Tone Setters team, which is about to be 11-3.
Yeah, and I have more points. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, dude, you're about to be 11
points to me, dude.
Yeah, I do. Oh yeah. Dude. Oh yeah. I had 118 more than you coming into the week, and then I outscored you by 42 points this week projected.
Click on my team really quick. I can't remember who I even am starting in this league.
Baker, Barkley, Tracy, Moore, Garrett Wilson, Kittle, Smith, Hubbard, ETN, Purdy. I mean, obviously,
I have buys this week too with Drake May is out. I had a couple other guys as well.
Well, did you see what it set up now? So I'm going to win this week. Like I'm projected to win, but 99% I win equity. I don't have to explain it. So I'm going to be the 5 seed, right? Or actually, I'm going to be the 4 seed, but it really doesn't fucking matter. It's the 4 or 5.
Because you guys are going to play each other.
Me, you, and Doc are going to be on the same side of the bracket. Is basically what I'm trying to point out.
Which is awful because you won the league last year. Doc won it
the year before. Yeah, 2 years ago. The year before.
And for those who are unfamiliar with this league, this is my snake bitten league because I've been the 1 seed 3 straight years and been bounced after the bye 3 straight years. So I need to actually secure a championship in this thing. And I think the difference this year might be that I have the best fantasy player in the league, which is Saquon Barkley. But
I mean, the way Puka's been playing recently,
I still lost. So
real talk, like how high is Puka Nacua at wide receiver rest of the season? Because I think you can say any number, and I don't think it's outrageous.
Yeah, you could definitely make the argument he's like a top 3 to 4 receiver rest of the season for sure.
Man, I actually can't wait for Flock League drafts. The Flock League draft next year because it's like there's so many players I just want to take. And obviously,
Yeah.
like Luka's going to be one of them, Genty. Like, there's so many guys that I'm thinking of on the top of the board last year when, like, dude, like we were taking, I mean, like Jalen Waddle, like fucking Travis Etienne, like think of the guys that went Debo Samuel. Think of the guys that went in the second round last year versus who's going to be in the second round this upcoming year.
Yeah, I think we probably would have thought those guys were good picks at the time, though.
It's wild to think back on because, like, even like the late second round projected next year. Let's just see because Big Loaf.
I think everyone just stinks. That's the takeaway this year. There's been more misses just based on pure ability and the way that the player is playing this year than any other.
Yeah, everybody just kind of sucks at football, I feel.
Like, everyone stinks at football this year for some reason.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate.
But anyways, let's rip through some comments here. We have the Flock site pulled up in the background. If you guys do want to skip the line, of course, go nuts. But usually we don't get through many questions on the Monday stream anyways. Bell's in here. He says, sup boys, if Jamar drops less than 21, I make playoffs. Am I cooked? Is this in, for those of you guys that don't know, Dylan's like one of my buddies. He's in my home league with me. I'm curious if he's talking about in our home league. Yeah, he is talking about in our home league. Yeah, he's currently at 126. And the guy who is, I think he's in second place right now. He's in first place. He played the first place team this week. And if he gets less than 21 points, then Dylan will make playoffs. But the problem is that this guy has Jamar Chase, and Jamar Chase nuked me for 60 points. So we know what he's capable of. And my league format too, it's full PPR, big play bonuses. Like Chase is just precisely the type of dude that smokes you.
Yeah, I mean,
precisely the guy that I should have drafted, if I'm being 100% honest. When I was picking 103, I should have just picked Jamar Chase.
I mean, I don't know.
I took Lamb and then traded. First of all, this was a great trade. What's up?
You need to fade Chase points? No, yeah. Dylan does. Cowboys are finally healthy in the secondary today. Diggs is playing. Okay. Diggs, Bland, and Lewis are all going to be on the field.
Okay, well, for my best ball portfolio, I kind of need Burrow to go blicky. So let's hope that doesn't matter.
Yeah, let's hope he connects with Chase Brown for touchdowns. How about that?
No, dude, Jermaine Burton, bro. I need my big dog team. I need a Jermaine Burton generational game.
1 or 2 Jermaine Burtons, 3 or 4 Chase Browns. Let's fucking side
there we
seal
go.
deliver.
Yeah. I need 45 points from Jermaine Burton and Rico Dowdle to make my big dog team advance, which is probably unlikely of happening. But if I get a Chase Brown or a Jermaine Burton bomb and he has like a 19-point game and Rico just kind of does what he did last week against the Giants, I mean, it's possible.
I'm calling it now, by the way. Cowboys are winning tonight.
Eh?
Yeah. And I don't know how I feel about it because, like I said, I kind of want the higher pick, but like it's setting up for them to win tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we got a 50.5 point over under with plus 14% of the sharp money on the over in this game. So, I mean,
curious what the money is.
So let me ask you this. To me, I think if the Cowboys win tonight, the under hits. But if the Bengals win, the over hits, if that makes any sense. Like, I think that's the way that the two teams win, is that the Cowboys defense plays well enough to hold the Bengals a little bit, and that's how they win. Versus if it's a shootout, I don't think the Cowboys are keeping up.
I don't disagree. I think if the Cowboys win, it would probably need to be like a 27-21 type of deal.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, if you like the Cowboys to win, you might as well parlay it with the under in the game.
The thing is,
I don't think they would win a shootout.
Now I actually hope that we don't win because I need Chase Brown to go blicky. So maybe I shouldn't put that in the air, but man.
Yeah, at least you're finally getting, but the one thing I will say, Nemesis, I have never, ever had a worse customer experience as like a customer than the internet experience I've gone through the last 8 days. Like I have legit been on the phone with internet companies and I've switched internet companies as well for like a total of 25 hours of my life the last like week and a half. Like it's been absolutely brutal. So it is a big time sigh of relief that I'm just like finally functioning as a internet user. Cowboys going to pull this one off. Toronto Dave says it looks like Danny thinks so.
I do.
Says, what do you think about what's happening at Underdog? I am not familiar with what you're referring to.
Is he talking about the Dog Bowl? Because I know they met with everybody there. Shout out, by the way, DFS Viper, if he's watching this. Best Ball Viper, I believe, was able to take it down. So, I believe it was like $200,000 on the weekend. So shout out there. And I know tonight they have a lot of the partners over. So I saw like MMG was there. Obviously, Zerk and Swift.
Zerk and Swift, Nick and Pete.
Nick. Is Mason down? Is Mason down there?
No, I don't think so. It's Zerk and Swift teamed up for basically what Danny's referring to is that they built out a 5-pick entry where Jack Settleman had 1 pick, was MMG, Nick Merckx, both got their own picks. And then Nick and Pete teamed up for a pick. And then Swift and Zerk, who are both Madden YouTubers, if you're unfamiliar, they were in the incubator with us.
Yeah.
They all teamed up for a pick. And I think they're all kind of discounted too, if I'm not mistaken. Like it looks like Dick Ferguson, 29.5 receiving yards. Like I'm pretty sure his total was set at like 37.5 or something like that. It looks like they got a decent little discount on those. So if you guys want to check that out, go to Jack Settleman's Twitter, Snapback Sports guy, and you'll probably see all of those there.
Yep. Nemesis, none taken, bro. Honestly, I would probably prefer the Bengals win. I think the Cowboys are going to. Like, it's what my gut's telling me.
Yeah. Did you see, by the way, so Jeff, I don't know how to say this guy's name, but he is a senior news analyst for covers.com, which is a betting site.
Yeah.
Jeff I can't say this guy's name. Jeff Z of covers.com. He has been on the forefront from what I've seen of reporting like when DFS becomes legal Ontario in certain places. And he reported that on November 24th to 25th, Ontario, which is obviously where Danny and I are from, was supposed to have like a hearing, and they pushed it back because they weren't yet ready to make a decision. We're obviously hoping that in time for Best Ball Mania 6 and the next NFL season, we'll have DFS daily fantasy sites like Underdog back available to us in Ontario. But for those of you guys that are like in Ontario or in an eligible state in general, I would suggest following Jeff on Twitter. His name is Jeff is spelled GEOFF, and then it's ZOCHODNE. And he's like pretty on top of the news when it comes to DFS stuff in Ontario specifically. So I would definitely check him out. He's talking about basically the hearing for Ontario court reference regarding DFS poker iGaming. Basically, the 5-judge panel for the court appeal reserved their decision for a later date, which is something I believe they were supposed to make the decision in July. They pushed it back to November, and it appears they're pushing it back yet again. So I'm curious if we get an answer anytime soon. But obviously, we have a lot of skin into this because we're Underdog fiends that want Underdog back in Ontario.
Off the topic quickly of football, I do have to mention this because it's obviously big news. Apparently, they ended up finding the healthcare CEO's murderer.
Yeah,
if you recall, Luigi Mangione. Interesting stuff. Like I was reading up on it, and he like went missing for a while, and I know like he had complications with back surgery,
back injury. Yeah, I saw that too. Somebody found his DFS, his Underdog teams, which I thought
I heard that was doctored.
Crazy.
I heard that was doctored. Like they faked the screenshot, but that would have been hilarious. But like there's like really interesting tidbits there. Like apparently like the healthcare system failed his grandparents, and then he had his back surgery and didn't fully recover from it, and apparently like the medical costs were really like going up on him. So then he went MIA and he disappeared for months on end, and then he ends up returning and just taking care of.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the type of person who would be motivated to take out an insurance company CEO.
No, wait.
Loogie.
John Loogie was the funniest. I'm like, Bush, are you dead?
Is the name of the shooter.
Yeah, dude. The funniest is like you said John Loogie, and then I just like looked at the screen. I'm like, Bush, are you dead ass right now? What the hell is a Loogie?
Yeah. Zach says, what broadcasts are you guys watching tonight? I usually watch the Buck and Aikman broadcast, typically just the regular ESPN one. Sometimes I dabble with the Manning cast, but I don't know. For me, it's like I'm not watching the game. I'm watching like people comment on the game, if that makes any sense. Well, I'm just a classic like Buck and Aikman watcher usually.
Like I'll keep it a stack. Like I put on the Buck and Aikman, chill out, and then the other thing too is DAZN or DAZN, however people want to refer to it.
So you can't be getting on me for Loogie when you're calling it DAZN.
I said either or. I said DAZN, DAZN, however you call it. They only play the normal broadcast, so I usually stick to that, especially, you know, when I'm going out in the garage, just enjoying the nice breeze and everything like that while watching the game, you know.
The nice breeze. Oh, is that a euphemism?
You connect the dots, you can figure out what I'm talking about.
Anyways, let's go back up to Louis or Louis.
Louis.
I'm in my league, and someone is deliberately benching a starter to fix their playoff bracket. That's
blatant collusion. That is the definition of collusion.
Well, let me ask. So I'm assuming what he's doing is trying to get an easier matchup.
He wants to get the easier bracket, and I understand it in theory because he's going to defend himself, say, you know what? I'm doing this to benefit my own team, this and that. It's like, that's why every year when you do your draft, you have to get those things clarified. Are those type of stipulations allowed in your league? If everybody agrees going into the league, go nuts. No holds barred. You want to be scum of the earth, go be scum of the earth. But like that has to be something, if you're going to make that type of decision, that's talked about as you guys are drafting, not in week 14 when playoffs are on the line.
Yeah, no, I feel like, I don't know about you, but this year, I think week 15 might be the most uneventful week of my life next week. Because I think in every league that I'm competitive, looking to win the championship, I have a bye. And then every other league, I'm, out of the playoffs or whatever. And even in the flock league, where I'm still competing for something, I'm going to have a bye, like in the toilet bowl.
Are you though?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to have a bye because you're guaranteed bottom 2 seed, right? I forgot how it worked. It's like the bottom 2 get the buys. It's so weird to me.
I don't think I have a single league other than I think one where I'm actually going to have a week 15 matchup. Like I'm pretty much in a bye position or I'm not in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's wild.
I think Flocked Up and Flock Me Silly, actually, the only 2 leagues where I'm going to be like I think I'm supposed to be the 4 seed and the 5 seed or something like that.
Yeah. How is that collusion? He's helping himself with no outside help, but I agree.
Collusion.
It's not collusion because you're not colluding with somebody specifically for their benefit.
It's
just
not yours. Yeah, it's bad gamesmanship.
It's bad gamesmanship.
To be fair, I don't think it's actually like disallowed. Like if you didn't discuss it beforehand, I actually think you should be allowed to do it.
But see that the thing is, you're playing a fine line there. Me personally, if it wasn't discussed going into the league, would I ever do that and potentially ruin the balance of how my league mates view me moving forward? Probably not. But like, it's not like I'm gonna ridicule this guy for doing it. It's more so just like, buddy, like, are you serious? Like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
it's just like you're a scumbag kind of thing. But it's not. I wouldn't like if I was commissioner. Would I do anything about it? I don't think so. If it wasn't discussed, I don't think I would do anything.
If it wasn't discussed, you can't do anything. But also, I wouldn't have the balls to do it if it wasn't discussed. Is basically what I'm trying to say.
Also,
if they had discussed going in,
it would suck for sure if he's fixing it so that he lands on one side of the bracket. That would be one thing, but if it's going to involve somebody missing the playoffs, that's also a separate issue, I think. Like if he's just doing it to change what seed he's going to be, I don't think there's really anything.
Yeah, like if playoffs are set, that's one thing. But if he's doing it because he's like, oh, I don't want X player to get the playoffs
or whatever, I think that's probably a different story.
It depends what the motivation is.
Yeah, but if he's just like, I want the 6 seed instead of the 4 seed or whatever, like I don't actually think it's. Yeah, like it's kind of scummy, but I don't really think it's that bad.
Yeah, like all it does is you might not have a friendship with the guy that you cuck out of the playoffs if you do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Like, yeah, again, I think you could definitely make the argument in either direction. To be honest,
playing with gray areas. I think it's fair to question his integrity. I don't think you can fully put the collusion label on it because technically speaking, it's not like he's.
It would only be collusion if somebody was going to make the playoffs because of him doing it, and they texted him, "Hey, take this player out of your lineup so that I can make the playoffs." That would be collusion.
Yeah. By the way, I do have to address this too. Yeah, Jack. Apologies. I had a doctor's appointment this morning, and basically, I had to take some shots for it. I had my tetanus shot. I had another shot today because I'm preparing for blood work, and I'm not gonna lie, I just crashed out when I got home. Like I was exhausted.
Let's build one now.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, obviously we're in Ontario and spice season here, so we can't actually place it, but we can build one out and see what we kind of like for today's game. But obviously, like I said, if you guys tail it, just keep in mind that we are not actually able to make this pick because we usually make them through spicy. And he's not actually here. So looking at what do you like here? This is your pick, so I'll let you drive the bus.
I like Jake Ferguson to bounce back. Obviously,
Seems
he
like the
has
chalk for a lot of people based on what
well,
I've seen.
he has been banged out. I believe he's coming off of the concussion. However, in the games this year, we can even take the fantasy points. In games he started and finished this year is averaging 10.2 PPR points per game, and that's on 0 seasonal touchdowns. So you combine the fact that the Cowboys are implied for over 22 at home, both volatile Bengals pass defense. I think Jake Ferguson might actually score his first touchdown of the year. So I'll lean the fantasy points with him.
Yeah, remember it is half, so you kind of
Yeah.
need, like, in my opinion, for 7+ fantasy points for a tight end who's not like one of the guys who gets peppered 8-9 targets a game.
A 5
like,
for
you
60
pretty
game
much
is going to
need
do
a
it.
touchdown or like a big play to hit this.
But you could hit like a 6 for 50, 5 for 60 type of game. That would probably be.
But it's challenging.
Going there.
It's challenging though.
Yeah, I agree.
And in my opinion, if you think he's going to have a 6 for 50 type of game, I would rather bet his target.
I'm saying if he didn't score a touchdown, that's how he would get over the line. But
Right.
I really do like his touchdown equity today. I do.
Yeah.
I like he's just not going to finish with 0 touchdowns on the year, and this is the type of game environment he gets over the line.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, what else do we like in here?
This can be your pick if you want.
I'll go with one maybe that I liked otherwise. Let me take a look really quick because I kind of like Yoshi Vosh 20.5 receiving yards. I just want to see what the recent split has been between him and Burton.
Burton played 0% of the snaps last week, if I remember.
He did. Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at it. 5%. 5%. Yoshi Vosh at 70%. Yeah, Burton is not getting requisite snaps that would indicate he's a huge, part of the offense. I kind of like Yoshi Vosh to go over 20.5 receiving yards.
So this gets me thinking, if Yoshi Vosh is going to be playing a lot of the snaps, we're probably going to get a lot of Jamar Chase on Jordan Lewis tonight.
Yeah, okay. We can
Yoshi Vosh has mostly been playing as an outside wide receiver, and as we've seen when they go to 3 wide receiver sets, the Bengals have moved Jamar Chase inside. Now Lewis has been playing some phenomenal football as of late, but I mean Jamar Chase on one of the cornerbacks that isn't named Deron Bland or Trayvon Diggs is the advantage that we like. So.
Yeah, so hear me out on this one. This one's a little weird. But in 3 of the last 4 games, we've seen Drew Sample get like 40+% of the routes, and him having only a 7.5 receiving yardage total is pretty interesting to me because Gesicki's been steadily declining in this facet. But the problem, the issue here is that if it is a drop back passing type of game, then they might have Gesicki out there a little bit more. But yeah, I like the Yoshi Vosh higher. If you want to, do you want to roll with Chase, or do you want to get a little weird with the last one?
Yeah, you could either do the receiving yards with Yoshi Vosh or the longest catch too, to be honest, because he's kind of like their big play guy.
Yeah, you could definitely go with I think the longest reception, if it was like 11.5, I would do it, but it's close enough to 20.5 receiving yards that I think you might as well just take his receiving yards.
And then go to the top. Let's see what Rico Dowdle's line's at.
Rico has 67.5 rushing, 87.5 for combined fantasy points. To me, that seems a little ambitious.
Am I crazy, or I really like? Oh, that's first quarter. I thought that was first half receptions for a second. I was like 0.5 first half receptions feels.
Yeah, that would have been nice. First half receiving yards is 6.5. That one's not bad.
Yeah, I like that, or I like the first half rushing yards. 33.5 feels pretty reasonable. He's actually been getting some explosive plays out of the run game as of late. Like he had, I believe it's going to sound so fucking pathetic, but I think the first 20+ yard rush since week 3 of 2022 for the Cowboys.
You guys are taking Genty so guaranteed. It's insane.
Dude, have you seen Rico's efficiency in the last few games though? Like he's actually playing
gonna make really a great handcuff to the best running back rookie in the league.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like maybe Rico Dowdle's not a full number 1 back, but like I think he could be one of the best number 2s in the league. Like he's actually good.
Also, Manster, I will resonate with that, buddy. I took
good luck, brother.
Courses. I have a degree in accounting. I don't know if you guys know this, that my formal education training is in accounting. So I took taxation 1, 2, and 3, and then advanced taxation. So I have 4 tax courses that I took. So I know the tax exam grind all too well. And in Canada, it's called the Income Tax Act is the name of like what the IRS for the United States has, like the big ass book that tells you what you can.
Bush has an accounting degree.
Yeah. No, I have an accounting degree. I'm saying I'm assuming you also have a lot of taxation courses. I'm just saying, like, I know the grind because I've been there.
Uh, uh, my experience in accounting is first and second year university and then dropping out after that. So I'm
Yeah.
not your tax guy.
No, I probably should have, because my degree's in my desk right now collecting dust. So yeah, that's basically
It's
where we're
still
at with formal education. But I'm a
I just
spreadsheet nerd because of it, and I learned most of that through an accounting major. So it
I
worked for something.
I do need to point this out. It's funny to me. It's like, you remember how stressed I was when I first made this decision. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm dropping out. Like it's like even though it wasn't much, because it's like we're doing far more business, which is what I was studying with what we're literally doing, our business. But
Mhm.
it's like mentally, it's like we were programmed from such a young age that like, oh yeah, this is the only way. This is the only way. It's like what I was faced at when we were, I believe, end of 2021, early 2022 is when I
Yep.
finally dropped out. Like it was still like, yo, I'm not used to this. And now it's like, yo, bro, like I wake up every day and it's the fucking best. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, school, like if you, I mean, my opinion is, if you need to go to school because like that's what you're passionate about and the career that you're
Yeah,
trying to get into is it requires schooling and education, then by all means
100%.
go nuts. But if you have no idea what you want to do, going to school is probably the last thing you should do.
Agreed. And like
It's
I'm
too
saying,
expensive to be just like figuring yourself out.
like accounting, you need an accounting fucking degree to be able to go into that. Doctor, you need a degree.
Yeah,
Science
teacher.
field,
Yeah,
I get that. But when I'm going fucking like relative business, like I was business real estate, it's like, do I really need to fully get a degree here when what I'm doing in business we're doing anyways? Sorry, I need to point that out. Yeah, fuck. Fair
yeah.
play,
This is
Arthur.
my rather dusty degree at the bottom of my drawer, by the way. So this is where we're at. This is where we're at with it.
Yeah. Well, I'll point this out too. Bush knows, like it was so funny because I would have the waivers in the morning. I would record them sometimes like 4 or 5 a.m. to get them out in the morning. And the guy would wake up. He's like, wait, how do you have the video out? I saw it at like 12 p.m. and it wasn't out. What happened? I'm like, yeah, I recorded it in the middle of the night. He's like, buddy, don't you have classes the next day? I was such a degenerate when I was in university to the point where like I wouldn't show up to any of my classes at one point once it got to a certain point, and I was still finishing with like 80 pluses because like when you're in business, it's easy to get high grades. Let me just point it at that. Like you don't
Yeah,
have to do
no,
much.
it's not super hard. I mean, like my final 2 semesters were like COVID
Yeah.
semesters too. So like there was absolutely no way you were failing anything. And like they were pretty intensive classes that I was taking towards the end of my degree. My program was 4.5 years long. It was 9 semesters with co-op in there. So like I have a dual BBA in accounting and audit and information technology. So like my degree was probably going to be really, really intense those last 2 semesters, but because of COVID, they like trimmed it right down to like very easy kind of
COVID
everybody
was the
can pass.
worst for my school work ethic, bro. Once COVID hit, I literally could not get reprogrammed into a formal college setting. Like it was that bad. COVID hit, and again, a couple of my teachers were also dickheads. Like COVID hit, like half the classes were still not even living in Guelph, and some of the information was not actually put online. You had to go to the in-person classes when literally multiple people in the classes weren't even living on campus. So like I got into a whole debate like with the school directors and everything like that. I'm like, yo, like this is crazy. Like there should not be mandatory in-person stuff when half the fucking classes are not even in the area or not even in Guelph. Are we expecting like people that are living completely out west to fly over for class every morning? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No.
So,
He goes to University of Buffalo. Yeah.
oh, let's go.
So my sister actually goes to the University of Buffalo. She's doing her nurse practitioner's degree there, but I don't think she ever actually has to go to the campus, to be honest. I think it's like mainly online. But yeah. Yeah. So you have to do the MSA. We don't have to do that in Canada. I'm pretty sure you just get an accounting degree and then you take the CPA prep course and you can write the exam. I don't think you actually have to do that route unless you're getting a master's of finance in Canada, but it could be different. I'm not sure.
Well, shout out too. So, this was like I'd already told you this before, but anybody that's listening, do you remember the first year COVID exam? This is even before I knew you were an accounting major. I was always friends with Noah Pires, obviously now of Underdog Fantasy, but he used to work with Nick Colano. You know him, but I'm explaining the backstory for this.
I've also heard this story 4,000.
I've said it to you, but I'm saying it to like other people that are watching right now. That's why I said I know you're gonna know this, Bush, but I didn't even know that you were an accounting major. So like literally, I still remember when COVID hit and my accounting exam got canceled. The night before, I was like frantically studying at like 11 p.m. with Noah, trying to understand the accounting. So shout out Noah, man. He's a fucking real one. And if I also knew you were into the accounting major at that point, I definitely would have hit you up as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it a stack. I don't know if I would have had the patience to be on there with you till 11 p.m. studying for accounting when the whole world shut down the next day.
He was already at the library because he studied something else. So I'm just like, if you have like 20 more minutes, like, can we talk about this? So he blessed me either way. But yeah,
that was honestly the reason I went into accounting, is that it just made sense to me. That was the only like I did accounting competitions in high school. We had accounting classes in high school, and I like crushed a lot of the accounting competitions. And my teacher was like very overqualified to be a high school accounting teacher. She was like CPA, Masters of Accounting. She easily could have been a professor. So she taught very, very well. And I did really well in the class as a result. And then once I got to college, I basically learned like first year accounting in high school. So I did really well early on in college. And then I kind of hit a wall a little bit when I decided I didn't want to be an accountant long term, which was like year 3 of my degree. I wanted to get into the fantasy stuff. So
that was me with both law and economics. So law initially, grade 11, I got a 98 in my grade 11 law. And then grade 12 law, I also got like a 95 or a 96. But like I told you this story, but I ended up going to the law competition for my school. And basically was told by the director there, because again, I told you this before, and I'm sure people that have been watching know the story, but like at one point in my life, like I got up to like over 300 pounds. So I didn't have a suit that actually fit me. And we were going for a presentation to do, oh my God, what was it? We like prepped the whole thing. We were presenting in front of a lawyer, and basically he was picking the team for that. And I was told after the fact by somebody that was on the team that I was not included on the team because I didn't show up in a suit and tie. After that, I stopped getting into law because I'm like, okay, I'm getting a 98 in my class and not making the law team because I'm not showing up in a suit. That tells me all I needed to know about where the priorities are at for some people, right? So got away from that. Then the next year, I really started getting into economics, and that was part of the reason why I majored in business, majored in real estate, because like I came back to my economics class, and that final year, 12 plus, because I dropped out in 12, came back in 12 plus. That final year, dude, like I had a 94 or 95 average, and I was showing up to my classes 1 day a week to write tests. Like that's what it got to.
Yeah, it's high school was a little wild. Yeah, he said Mansour said he's heading into audit, got an internship at Deloitte. I remember when I was doing my co-op, I had I put in a resume and like everything for Deloitte, and then I got my other co-op job, so I didn't actually ever get to interview at Deloitte, even though I think I probably would have had a good chance of working with them. And a couple of the guys I went to school, like all the people I went to school with, they're all still like in accounting. And one of them I think works for Deloitte right now. And he's like one of those guys. Like I know you probably know this based on like watching Suits or whatever, but like the big 4 accounting firms in Canada, and I'm sure they're probably pretty similar in the States, it's like working for a law office the first 5 years that you're working there. Like you put in 90-hour weeks because that's what associates do until you're junior partners and shit. Yeah. And my buddy who just actually had a kid with his wife, like he's doing like the crazy fucking 80-90 hour week shit right now. Dude, he loved it though. He like when I was in school with him, I was like, you are one of the few people I know that like was absolutely born to do this. Like he was like, do you have DECA at your high school?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like president of DECA for like the entire school board. Like he was the business. He was literally the business kid. Like he was the business guy.
My bad. Fair enough.
Yeah. Get ready. If you got to work for Deloitte though, they're going to work you into the ground, man. Like the job I had midway through the channel existing was I was a financial analyst at Toyota, and my buddy who works at Deloitte said, get ready because Toyota is going to work you into the ground. And I didn't last very long there because I was like, dude, I don't care about this job enough to fucking work into the ground for it.
I still remember that. Like for reference for those watching, like this was at a time where like we were not like making enough full time that we had to get work on the other on the side. So Bush had a full-time job while we were running the channel, while I was also full-time in school. Like this was about 2021.
It was my nephew was just born. It was March of 2022 that I worked there.
2022. And I remember like you literally like one day hopped on a call and like I noticed I'm like you're so happy. Look what's going on. And you're just like, I finally fucking quit that job, and it's the most happy I've ever been.
Oh God, that job was like soul sucking, dude. The nail in the coffin was one of the guys that I was working with, retired, and he had worked there since he was 18 and he was 65 years old. Like the classic lifer, right? Just 18 to 65, and this dude was defeated, bro. Like on the retirement call, everybody's like, "Oh, happy retirement. What are you gonna do now?" And he's just, "Oh, I'll probably just hit the golf course a little bit more, and I was like, this guy's done. This guy's fried, bro." I'm like, dude, I'm done with this place, man. This is a soul sucker,
dude. That was your wake up moment. That was my wake up moment was at school. It's like, dude, everything I'm fucking learning, like it feels like I'm not learning anything. Like it got to the point where we're at school. It was like, dude, I'm learning about business, but we're learning more literally looking stuff up on how to manage it. Like it once I realized that context that like, that perspective that like, everything that I'm paying thousands of dollars for is easily accessible information from a business major, specifically in business. Cause obviously, like we said, specialized field, completely different thing. Specifically for business, everything I'm learning is stuff that I can find on my own.
Yeah. You'll learn a lot more trying to start your own business than you will getting a business degree for sure.
Dude, I'll still remember the first business call we hopped on when we got off with it was Jock Market. And remember I told you, I'm like, yeah, we got to deal with Jock Market. And at the time, like that was the first deal we ever worked on. I remember I was at my university house and I was like, yo, like we're fancy stock exchange, bro. Look at us. Like I still remember that, dude. That was crazy.
Yeah. Paid us fucking bag of biscuits for a couple ad reads.
That's crazy.
I was, Nick. I was an accountant. My fiance too. Like my Maria's story is the exact same as mine, except she worked in accounting way longer than me. But she basically now she's a writer full time and she loves what she's doing. She has a big Instagram following, so she does pretty much exactly what I do here, except with writing and on Instagram. But she was an accountant for a long time too. So it was we both have the whole like creativity but logical side of the brain kind of working in tandem there.
For sure. I do see this, and it does sound like Rohit's panicking. So I'll just, he literally says I'm panicking. So we'll make sure you're covered here. He says DK for Flowers. Who do you have higher rest of season? Because I'm still leaning DK, but it's a little bit more volatile with JSN playing the way he has been.
I would rather have Flowers, man. I think the Ravens are just the type of team that I feel so comfortable with.
Yeah. Good point. Oh, yeah, fuck. The game must have just...
Yeah, the game is on. We got distracted with trashing traditional education and whatever else we were doing on here. But appreciate you guys for joining us. This one was totally off topic, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Again, we will have some videos later on this week, so definitely make sure to check all those out. We'll have some rest of season ranking stuff, some waiver stuff, all that good shit going forward. But anyways, appreciate you guys for joining us. Peace out. We'll talk to you soon.